Well, to discuss, we're now joined by the National Treasurer of Numsa, Mphumzi Maqungo. Great to have you with us, Mphumzi. You are on the warpath, it seems, warning of the mother of all battles, even before wage negotiations have begun. How do you expect companies to negotiate in good faith with this threat coming now, seemingly completely delinked from wage negotiations?
Thank you very much once again. I think it's important to put issues into perspective. Firstly, we are the biggest union in this particular sector, and it is our responsibility and the duty to make sure that we mobilize our members in advance. We've learned them the experience from the previous sectors. As an organization, we've taken a decision. Since January, we've been communicating with our members, and we believe that if bosses this time around are unable to respond adequately to our demands, obviously we shall take the fight to their doorstep.
But it sounds like you don't care about the response of bosses. Your president there saying, we haven't striked since 2011, so it's time. So it seems like no matter what the bosses do, you are determined to go on strike. Unions, laborers themselves will suffer as well as businesses.
No, and I think I must clarify what the president meant, for an example. It is a fact that in this particular sector for more than 5 years, 6 years, there has been no strike, purely because there's been thorough engagement between ourselves as the national union, including the employers. You recall
2011 was only 3 years ago.
Yes, but the reality is that since you recall that before 2010 World Cup, this particular sector, we were approached by government, we were approached by employers that because of the serious preparation for the World Cup, we agreed that we extend our agreement. Instead of being 3 years, we extend up until 4 years. So the reality in this particular sector is that this is one of the biggest sectors. What we are doing is to mobilize members. We are a very open organization. We shall not refuse to consider what the employers will put on the table. But it is quite clear that, look, the negotiations is not an easy one. Members need to prepare for themselves now for the battle ahead. There's nothing wrong on that. If the employers respond positively to us, obviously we'll go back to our constituency and explain to them that, look, this is an offer that is on the table, and if that offer at that particular point in time is reasonable, we shall engage with our members. We are a responsible trade union.
You're talking about 2011. Was Numsa not involved in the motor manufacturing strike, hitting manufacturers' components last year?
Yes, you will recall that Numsa is serving 4 sectors. You've got auto sector, tire sector, motor sector, and engineering and Eskom and others. So these negotiations are taking place in different platforms because you would have engaged and locked yourself in a 3-year agreement.
So the 2011 is just in the steel and engineering sector. The strike that hit the motor manufacturers last year was devastating. Our exports went down, affected our trade account deficit, billions lost. We're hearing that up to 30,000 jobs were lost as a result of that strike. So are you not considering the extent of damage that this new strike can cause to our economy?
No, and look, we've got the labor relations in this country that allow workers to put demands on the table. Employers, they enter into that agreement knowing very well that at a particular point in time, organization has to make sure that we improve. That's the duty of a trade union, is to make sure that you improve the conditions of workers. There's nothing wrong for us. For example, for the past 3 years, you tell me to date, for the past 3 years, there's been no demands that we've put on the employer's table. There's been no increase for those workers. Number of benefits have not been improved. There's nothing wrong for us. It is a duty of a trade union to make sure that you fight for the betterment of your constituents.
What about fighting for this country? Because the talk today, the rhetoric, was seemingly about bringing the economy to its knees, despite the consequences. You're talking about going on strike at Eskom, which can't even keep our lights on.
No, but look, there are 2 different things here. Firstly, we are exercising our rights. We have not issued any notice of a strike. We are mobilizing our members to get ready, firstly, including the bosses themselves. They must come up very up front and be objectives on those negotiations. Same like us as leadership will be doing the same. But what we are raising, for an example about Eskom, Eskom imposed 5.6 increase in relation to our members last year. And what is 5.6 at the current moment? It's not even affordable. Now, what we are saying that we are demanding once again We're putting new demands to Eskom this year. We are busy for the next 3 days of consolidating. Up until we've consolidated those, we'll be able to go and engage with Eskom. We spoke to the minister who's responsible for Eskom, including the senior management, that look, it's time that you improve the conditions. Those conditions of workers of Eskom are so poor and bad.
What sort of increases are you looking at, and will this be considered? Because we're hearing that the CCMA has its own problems, but also that unions are arriving with no real facts and figures to justify the increases.
No, look, for an example, we're meeting for 3 days. We've invited various experts who are working with various universities. We've got a labor research institute that work with Numsa, it was launched last year. So we do submit our demands, very factual, and we are able to substantiate. Hence, all these employers last year, Auto and Tire and Motor, they were able, including the minister herself, when she started to be part, it was clear that we were factual on what to put to the employer's table.
Mphumzi, last question. Can you assure me that this is not just political? Because your position in COSATU is not clear. You're mobilizing against government. There's a lot of inter-union rivalry. And your president talking about mobilizing the troops, keeping the revolution going. Is this not just political?
No, not at all. You will recall that we are a trade union. Our own primary existence is to defend workers. Our own existence is to make sure that we improve and negotiate for better working conditions for our members. For the past 3 years and the past years, there has been no negotiations. What is wrong for workers to put something that can that can take care of them and their own families and their own children? There's nothing. It's not a crime. It's not a sin. It is accepted. It is enshrined in the labor relations of this particular country. So we're not killing the economy. By the way, the very same workers, the taxpayers' money, it's given to these employers in the auto sector, even including in the engineering. There are incentives that we, as an organization, including business and government, for making sure that these companies continue to exist. We've negotiated that. So I don't think that we're killing the economy. Not at all.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. I wish we could chat further. Thank you. The National Treasurer of Numsa, Mphumzi Maqungo.